We're now joined in the studio to talk about some of the biggest stories this week from the legal world. It's friend of the show, Andrew Eborn. Great to have you here.
Lovely to see you, and congratulations on the first question in PMQs. I love seeing Phil do that. It's a real sense of joy. And it's been a monumental week again in the legal world. We've had Elon Musk is now the big twit, so the chief twit, as he calls himself, as we predicted on the show. You had Kanye West, yay, and his waxwork is now being melted down and so on and so forth. And Harry, his publication, the date has now been announced, the 10th of January, for Spare. Spare me, spare all of us, but spare no one, is I think what the publications are saying. What they're saying is going to be raw and unflinching. Revelation is what they're saying in the press release about the royal family. And it raises all sorts of questions, and we've been talking about defamation. Harry and his wonderful wife are no strangers to the courts, because they will turn around and sue anybody who says anything terrible about them. Thank you. They won't sue me. They won't sue me. They're great chums. I always say positive things. It's always got to be good. But the reality of it is that in order for it to be a success and raise all that money, there have to be those revelations. And that's what they say in the press release. They talk about a personal journey from trauma to victory and being comforted. But there will be those revelations. And it's very sad, I think, because it used to be, Benjamin Disraeli said, never complain, never explain. That was his mantra, if you like, which was taken on by the royal family. Now Her Majesty is no longer with us, and that was what she did throughout her life. She never commented on anything, really. And I think it's a really, really difficult thing on that sort of basis. So time will tell what they will reveal, but certainly from a legal position, the question about defamation will be there. And you can guarantee that the lawyers will be going through with a fine-tooth comb, working out what can be said and what can't be said.
I guess it's all right, defamation laws being in place. And of course, they're very different in America and in the UK. They're much more stringent.
Different approach, as we saw with Johnny Depp, absolutely.
Much more stringent in the UK than they are in the US. But I guess if Harry says unpleasant and maybe untruthful things about the king or his brother, it's difficult to see either of them actually suing him, is it? So it gives him a bit more of a free rein than you might think.
And it's very sad on that sort of basis. That Oprah interview, wasn't it, where you have the general blanket accusation about racism or so on and so forth, and that sort of stuff. We're not sure whether it's going to be a revelation or whether it's going to be more of a journey about his sort of mental health and an inspirational tale on that sort of basis.
But the king is getting his way back in a different way. So they might not be able to sue, and they might not do other things, don't, complain, don't explain. But he has removed, hasn't he, some of those ceremonial titles. Today, the one that Harry wanted, which was the Captain General of the Royal Navy, that was removed today. Supposedly nothing to do with the book, but he has the power to do that. Yeah. And now King Charles has got it instead. So maybe this is the way which makes you less and less royal.
Yeah. The other thing, by the way, is that the cover of the book,
yes,
Harry's book and Andre Agassi's book, are virtually identical. In fact, I'm not sure you could tell which was which.
Well, J.R. Muringer is the ghostwriter on both of those books, and Agassi in a book called Open in 2009. If you have a look at both of them, there they are, side by side. You can see staring directly into camera, one-word answer on that sort of basis. So absolutely, that is that sort of side.
Well, Andrew Agassi won't be suing Harry then for the cover of...
But that would be interesting. We could take that case on. That'd be worthwhile. But it's the same ghostwriter for both books.
But it also shows, in a way, doesn't it, his lack of individuality, Harry. It shows the fact that he is copying in one way or another, getting somebody else to write the book, getting somebody else to do the front cover of the book, talking about his family. To me, it's diminishing him somewhat.
I thought Meghan was the ghostwriter.
Well, maybe she is, but friends of mine in the States are now saying that they don't want them. They're sort of saying, can't you have them back?
Well, I really hope that this will be an inspirational tale. They claim in the press release that it will be inspirational. So it's Harry's journey. It starts, you remember that dramatic picture of him walking behind the coffin of his mother, Diana, and talking about that terrible journey that he's had in the sort of public eye, with the spare, because he's an heir and a spare on that sort of basis. So I hope it will be inspirational rather than necessarily airing dirty laundry.
35 million for a full-book deal, so it will be. And I think as well this week the royal family were somewhat upset because of the Netflix documentary he's doing, and they did the filming at the Alma Tunnel where Princess Diana died, and they were doing that. So if this is anything to go by, they really are digging up, aren't they? The I don't know, all the old stories.
And I think that's absolutely right. And the backlash about the Crown and so on and so forth, about now they put that effectively a disclaimer on to say, look, some of this is fictionalised. So we need to sort of look at that, question everything, and it's a question of balance with all of these stories.
It's a hell of a lot of books they're going to have to sell to get their money back.
Serialisation rights. Are you going to buy one?
Well, we've already said, we'll definitely read that one.
I said I won't.
He won't, but I will. If we're talking about it, we need to know what's in there. It might not be as bad as you say. I remember that happening with the Call Me Dave book, and I remember reading it because David Cameron said, oh, it was awful, it was awful. I read it, and actually there was only 2 bad lines in it. The rest of it was quite sycophantic, so that's why you should always read things.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure to see you both.
As always. That's it for the first hour here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break.